You are probably not going to be surprised about this, although I am. I know I shouldn't be at this point, but come on. Can we not trust any of the official data? And so in today's dose of number fudging, in order to make the situation look better than it really is, we are going to take a look at the supply chain issue right now and how the situation at the ports is being manipulated to look like it's improving when in fact it is not. Ready? Let's dive in. All right, take a look with me at this chart. This chart specifically is from Longview Economics, data from Macro Bond, and it's showing LA port traffic, which is days at anchor and berth, and shown with the 10-day moving average there. So the red line that you're seeing in between the gray, very volatile line, the red line is going to be smoothed out. It's going to be your 10-day average, moving average there. So we can see that at the beginning of the pandemic, it was fairly flat. And then around October of 2020, we saw a drastic turn upwards, and it spiked through about February of 2021, and then moved on the decline until about July, and then started spiking again. But noticeably, we've seen a drastic decline in LA port traffic since October-ish of 2021. It has just been falling drastically since then, really getting down to a point that's very low that we haven't seen. It's getting close to the point there where we saw before that drastic turn up in October of 2020. So this would indicate, and many people have looked at this chart and indicated that it looks like, hey, supply chain issues are easing. If all of the traffic congestion at the port is on the decline and we're getting back to a normal from that point of view, then that should trickle over into the rest of the supply chain, and that should also then contribute to lower inflation numbers, since we all know the inflation is a result of supply chains and not the massive money printing for the last couple of years, right? Even Paul Krugman, the brilliant Nobel Prize winning economist, commented on this chart, surprised, said, wow, there's been a consensus that these supply chain problems are going to persist for many months. Maybe that was wrong, and maybe unemployment staying high for years will also be wrong as well. Not so fast, because this data does not look at the whole picture. Now let's take a look at something called the Ocean Timeliness Indicator on flexport.com. I'll have this linked in the description below so that you can take a look at this as well. This chart that you're looking at is OTI, the Ocean Timeliness Indicator, and you can see it is basically near record highs. So what is this chart showing that the other chart was not? Well, essentially, this chart is showing from the time of the cargo ready date at the exporter's gate, shows from that moment all the way to the destination port departure date. So again, from the very beginning of when the cargo is ready to leave from the place that it's leaving from originally, until it gets all the way to the point where it leaves after it drops the cargo off at the place where it was going. Many times that means that it's also loaded up with new cargo from that place. So it's measuring the entire time of a whole cycle, not just one of those stages. We can clearly see there's been no drastic improvement, basically at all-time highs here. Yes, maybe within the last couple of weeks we've seen a little bit of a drop-off, but that's well within the volatility range that it has expressed over the last year, 2 years. And so nothing significant here in terms of any indication of a supply chain issues easing. Further than that, if we take a look at just one little tidbit of this stage, the stage 1, which is going to be in between that initial stage of where the cargo is ready to where it departs from its original port, just that stage 1 journey we can see on this chart, that is getting a lot worse as well. Again, basically all-time highs there. So at this point, you're probably asking yourself, and I hope you are, why does this not show up in the port data? Why is this showing that things are still getting worse at all-time highs when the other data is showing, hey, everything's getting better, everything is improving? Well, according to Ryan Peterson, it is because there was a new rule that makes the ships wait 150 miles off the shore where they don't show up in those specific metrics. That's right. In order to make sure that all those ships that are waiting, doing nothing, just sitting there because of the congestion, to make sure they don't show up in the reports of being counted as waiting, the new rule says they have to wait much farther away so that they're not counted. That'd be like binge drinking at a college party and you're disappointed in yourself at how many cans of beer you drank, and so in order to make yourself feel better, you take some of the cans and you move them really far away, some of those empty cans that you drank, so that you only see 3 or 4 and you feel better about yourself as a result. Doesn't do anything to change the situation, but what it does is it convinces anybody who's looking at that data that the problem is getting better. Out of sight, out of mind. And if people think the problem is getting better, then they're not going to be as concerned and as worried about it, even though the problem's actually not going to get better. And then when inflation doesn't subside as a result, because there's no easing up of the supply chain issues, when they still can't get their stuff in stock, when they still have to wait months before something's delivered, we can blame it on another problem, because clearly the data is showing that that's not the problem anymore. It's all just smoke and mirrors. And finally, 2 things I would like to invite you to. Number 1, my private community on Locals, where I post exclusive content available to only my supporters there. And number 2, I will be speaking at an event in Dallas on March 5th. It's going to be a great event. We've got some great speakers lined up. I would love to see you there. If you can join, I've got the sign up link in the description below. As always, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.